Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviriyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashaadhyayini Abhadvamanusandadhami Bhagavati Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Sumante Devyastavai Vedai Samgapadakramam Kanishadai Gayanti Samagaha Jnanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Vasantam Navidusura Suradana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So welcome back to Geeta in practice. We had got a long break. So we have completed chapter number 5. So the 6th chapter is called Dhyan Yoga, or the chapter on meditation. So first simple question is, what is meditation?
Concentration to the exclusion of everything else.
So that is concentration. But meditation and concentration are the same. Silence within. So does it mean thoughtlessness? So that way every night we become thoughtless in deep sleep. So can we say that is meditation? So becoming thoughtless with awareness, is that called meditation? That I am aware that there are no thoughts. Is that not a thought? There is a lot of things to think about. When we say what is meditation, first we should be clear about that. Because if we know what it is, then that is how we will pursue it. The entire effort depends on my understanding of meditation. If I think meditation is thoughtlessness, my whole effort is only to push my thoughts out and to make it blank. If I think it is concentration, it means my entire effort is only to make the mind focus. I am not saying these are not part of meditation, but what is meditation, if we are completely clear, then effort will be accordingly put. Any other thoughts about meditation?
Going within to realize yourself.
Okay, going within to realize the real self. So why is that called meditation? Is it not knowledge? that I want to know my real self. Understanding is appropriate, but why to call it as meditation?
To contemplate upon the energy, either looking to eyebrows or in the back of the head or the brain, and to kind of realize that consciousness is the same as mind.
So whatever one thinks about meditation, one has to bring that out. Because before we know what is meditation, we should know what meditation is not. So meditation is not relaxation. Many people do meditation for relaxation. I have BP problem, cholesterol problem, hypertension. Go to do meditation, all that will reduce. Meditation is not relaxation. Meditation is not concentration. Concentration is a part of meditation process, if we call it as a process. Meditation is not thoughtlessness. Meditation is not some vision that one gets. Blue light, yellow light. Meditation is not even some darshan of Bhagavan that one gets. So what exactly is meditation? If we remove all these notions from our mind, then the person starts thinking more clearly and knowing what is meditation. And accordingly the whole practice will be guided. The practice is otherwise limited by my idea of meditation. So the word meditation comes from the Latin root called medit. And medit means to heal. Hence a lot of people think meditation is that which helps the mind to become quiet, and hence it heals the conflicts of the mind. But the Sanskrit word is dhyan. Dhyan comes from dhyai, means to, one meaning is to focus, and other meaning is awareness. So in Hindi also we don't say, to say dhyan karo is a contradiction actually. Like in English, the word meditation is not a verb, it is a noun. So it is a state of being, it is a state of awareness. Same way in Hindi, we don't say dhyan karo. That one may use it colloquially, but dhyan se karo. Do it with awareness. Dhyan is a state. So that state of awareness, where I am completely aware of my own true nature as being infinite, Sat, Chit and Anand are the pointers to know that. So that state of awareness where I know myself as awareness and consciousness is called as meditation. It is not a temporary state of mind which comes and goes. It is a state of awareness which is there at all times, even at this moment. I am not centered in it and operating from it because of my attachment to the body, mind and intellect. So it is a state of awareness that is always present. Waking, dream and deep sleep, they come and they go. When one is present, the other two are absent. But meditation is a state which is never absent. Because if it is a state which is absent, then it is only a state of mind. It is destructible, perishable. So how effortlessly I am aware now of my individuality, that I am a man or a woman. How intuitively I know that. How effortlessly I am aware of it even without using conscious thoughts. To be aware of one's nature as being Satchidanand, that effortlessly at all times, is to be in the state of meditation. Do you think meditation and action conflict with each other? That if you are in meditation, you cannot do action, and if you are doing action, you can't be in meditation? Yes or no? Why not?
Because the complete awareness throughout, whether I'm acting, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm eating, awareness is there.
Okay. So, meditation and action don't oppose each other. In the sense, because meditation is a state of being. Centered in it, one can act. Just like today, the knowledge that I am a man or a woman is not contradicting my action. But my choices are all based on that idea. So intuitively I know that I am a man or a woman, and accordingly my choices are done. So that knowledge is not preventing action, but it is supporting the action. So that state of awareness, where I am effortlessly aware of my true nature, Swarupasya Sahajam Bhanam, it is called. To be effortlessly aware, Swarupasya. Swarupa is one's true nature. Sahaj is effortless. Bhanam is awareness. So effortless awareness of my true nature is called as meditation. Now the practice that leads to that is called contemplation. When I assert my true nature and I reject my false identification, that practice is called contemplation. So through contemplation, one reaches a state called meditation. Meditation is a state of fulfillment, permanent happiness, completeness. One doesn't feel incomplete anymore. That's the purpose of meditation, is to know my true nature and to heal the basic cause of my sorrow, which is ignorance. If I become aware of who I am truly, all my insecurities, fears, stress, worry, anxiety, which is based on my false understanding of myself as this body or this individuality, that will end. Hence, meditation is the ultimate and the direct state which one has to attain, which is my direct true nature. Practically, in the world outside, we use the word meditation as a verb. So, we also use it to signify as a practice. But technically speaking, meditation is the state, contemplation is the practice. So, to contemplate on the self, to liquidate the false identification, to dissolve the ego, and to abide as the Atma, which is my true nature, that is meditation. So, it is not concentrating on some form, some mantra, some dot. That is a step before contemplation. It is not to become blank completely, because that every night I become blank completely. Nothing happens. It is not to just focus on the breathing. These are all steps in the process to get ready for contemplation. But by themselves, these are not meditation. So in the 6th chapter, what Bhagavan is going to mention is about contemplation. And before he goes into contemplation, he explains about what is the preparation required, what are the precautions that one should take, and he will explain the process of how to contemplate step by step. Who is ready for contemplation? What is the result of contemplation? All this is covered in the 6th chapter. So let us begin. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Shodashodhyayah. Shodasha 16. Atha Shashthodhyayah. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Anashrita karma phalam. Karyam karma karoti yaha. Sasannyasi cha yogi cha. Na niragnir na chakriyaha. So the first preparation is, why, if we start thinking that if we try to contemplate, contemplation is too much subtler, even if we try to concentrate, what is that which prevents our mind from concentrating? Thoughts. Okay. Vasanas. What else? Desires. Fears. All these put together. Basic aspect is extrovertedness. All these put together make us extrovert. So mind finds it very difficult to do two things in life. Most difficult are these two. Can you guess what are they? Stop thinking to happens many times. To think is very difficult structurally, but still it is not very tough. Most difficult thing to do is sit quietly without any disturbance, without disturbance of a desire, pressure, without a stress, without a fear. Be calm and peaceful and be in that state. Most difficult. And second most difficult thing is to love. To love truly is very tough. Can't do that. And both are connected. Only a person who is quiet can love truly. A person who is insecure cannot love fully. Cannot love truly. So both these one finds it very tough to do. The reason is one's own selfishness, which makes a person extrovert. For a meditator, selfishness is a first block. Hence, Bhagavan did not speak about meditation in the beginning. And very strange it is that people today think that I don't want to study, I don't want to know much, I will go for a meditation course. Why? Because one's thinking is that if I sit quietly, I meditate, some technique I will know by which I can settle down the agitation of my mind. Why did Bhagavan not do that for Arjuna? A lot of adjustments are required. to be able to come to that state where the mind can become quiet without force, and where the mind can learn to be in that calm state and even continue to act. So our Gurudev used to tell us, when I slip out, I fall, but when I slip in, I rise. So slipping out, one is physical, literally one slips out, one falls. Other is the mental aspect, that the more one slips out, meaning the more one is extroverted, the more one has selfish desires, to that extent the mind is disturbed. And when I slip in, I rise. And that slipping in requires preparation. Otherwise, we try to slip in and we land up sleeping in. Because one is not ready. You just think about it. If you do weight training, you will know. I'm giving you a simple example. If I have to lose weight, suddenly I can't go on the treadmill and start walking on the speed of 7. Impossible. And suddenly I can't start lifting lots of weights. Even if I somehow manage to do it, the whole body will pain. I have to slowly do the warm-up and then build up my stamina and then increase week by week, take care of my diet. So many things have to come into place. Eat, sleep properly in the night. That is about a gross practice of losing the weight and losing fat. How much of dross we have collected in the mind? So what is the preparation required? First we must focus on that. Once I know that to contemplate on the self and know my true nature is the purpose, is the goal, then what is the preparation required? So Bhagavan gave that 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, where he spoke about karma yoga, he spoke about the importance of going to a guru, he spoke about getting the right knowledge, then having faith. So here, before he gets into contemplation, he summarizes the preparation in the first 10 verses. So the first verse he says, Anashrita karma phalam. When I have selfishness in my heart, that is a very big obstacle, that I can't sit quietly, it will push me out. So selfless work is the first preparation that is required. So he says, Anashrita karma phalam. Without dependency on the result, who acts in the world, karyam karma karoti yaha, who focuses on the duty, is not attached to the result. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. That person is ready to renounce the ego, and that person is a yogi also, karma yogi, who is serving in the society. Na niragnihi na chakriyaha. Not somebody who is just taken up ochre clothes and he is not doing rites and rituals and not serving the society. Many people think like that, yeah, I am an intellectual, I only believe in meditation, I am not puja type, I am not ritual type, I am not seva type, I am intellectual type. So you should ask them, you don't have a body and mind, you only have a buddhi. We all have a body and mind. How to integrate that body and the mind? Selflessness in the heart and service in the action is very necessary. How will that come? The whole Karma Yoga is summarized by Bhagavan in that one shloka. Not even that one shloka, in half that shloka. Anashrita karma phalam. Without dependency on the result, one who acts in the world, the love of the action, doing work for the sake of work, you may expect a result but no dependency on that result. Whoever has learned this, and how can this happen unless there is selflessness? That's what Arjuna was told by Bhagavan. He got deluded, he got disturbed, he got agitated because of his own attachments. which come because of selfishness. So he could not think clearly and he got disturbed. And Bhagavan said, fight for the sake of fighting, because you are a Kshatriya, it is your duty. Do the duty for its own sake. Don't worry about the result. That Mahabharata which is coming on that Star Plus. So yesterday Shri Krishna was telling Shakuni, one very nice dialogue comes there where he tells Shakuni that you play for the sake of winning, but I don't play for the sake of winning. Hence you have the moha of victory and bhaya of failure. Vijay ka moh or parajay ka bhay. And hence you are bound by that. But I don't play for that sake. I play for the sake of play. And that is why my play is called as Leela. And your actions bind you. Imagine compassion of Bhagavan. He gave knowledge to Shakuni also. That Shakuni was not a fit instrument that time to receive knowledge, and Bhagavan himself is giving Upadesh. What more can we demand? So, without the moha or delusion or attachment to the result, that this is what I want and when I get this, this will happen, that all the imagination and anxiety that the mind builds, and without the fear of failure. One of the main reasons why people are not consistent in the practice of meditation is also the fear of failure. That what if my mind keeps wandering? What if I can't control it and I feel so disturbed by it, and so better not do it. So when we get attached to the result, mind becomes extrovert. That mind which is very disturbed by the result will never be able to sit quietly for contemplation. So how to reduce that? That's where the spirit of Karma Yoga and everything that we learn. That if I love an ideal which is selfless, which is higher than me, where it is not something to be achieved for my sake, but for a larger purpose, for a larger good, and I act with that bhavana, dedicating my action to that larger purpose, what do? I exhaust my rajasic tendencies, I exhaust my selfishness. And that has to happen joyously. So first preparation required is, if I cannot enjoy my work and do it selflessly, I cannot meditate consistently. That is not possible. So if my duties I am not able to do cheerfully, dedicating it to a higher purpose, and I want to sit and meditate, it will be very limited benefit that I can get. Maybe the mind can become quiet also for some time. But what meditation can lead us to actually, that we will not come to. And it will only be an effort to bring it back again and again and again. One becomes frustrated and one gives up. So many people do that. They say, my mind keeps on wandering. How much do I try? How do I make it quiet? Do we ask anything like that when I do something that I love? If I am watching a movie of an actor whom I really love, I don't have to say, come back now, come on, focus on this actor, focus on this movie. Nothing. It is just there. Because there is so much of love for it. So do I love my work? Do I love the higher ideal to which I am surrendered, which is not selfish at all, which is to expand me out of my selfishness, to identify with a larger cause, with a larger group, whatever that ideal may be. And the family given to us is one example of that larger field. That I stop thinking about me and let my family be the altar of my surrender. or let my profession, my work be my altar of surrender. The society, the community, the culture, different aspects are there. With whichever I can identify, I must work selflessly. So that is preparation number 1. Anashrita karma phalam. And this preparation, it takes the maximum time, because more time we are spending in action. So if I am working 18 hours a day, how much of it is selfless? And can I make the entire thing selfless? I have to ask myself. And being selfless does not mean losing out. That is a wrong notion that people have. And how can I make money if I am selfless? Making money and being selfless is not going together. No, it doesn't work like that. Selfishness is more in the attitude part. Making money is not a problem for one's own survival, to live or to provide the basic necessities or little more comforts to oneself, to the family. That doesn't make me selfish. But what is that selfishness? Where nothing is more important than me and mine. That I and mine, which make me insensitive to other things, that is selfishness. And that can go without affecting my daily life. So whoever acts in this way, so that is the first preparation, and one should give enough importance to that and think about that. The second preparation, he says, is in verse number 4. How do I know that I am ready for contemplation? He says, are you ready with these 3 things? Yada hinendriyartheshu na karmasvanusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudhastadojjate. So here he says, yada hi na indriyartheshu. When a person is not tempted away by the senses and the sense objects, indriyartheshu. Typically that happens. The day we do upvas, that day we want to eat pani puri. Sense objects tempt us more. When one tries to sit quietly, that time only some film tune will come into the head and keep going round and round. When I want to keep mum, mind will bring up urgency. This I have to talk, I have to call this person and tell him this thing. So the senses tempt, sense objects they tempt. Person who has that firm dispassion, that senses don't tempt that person anymore, does not mean that person doesn't enjoy. What this means is the person is able to withdraw the senses and stay at will in that state of quietude and withdrawal. At other times the person is engaging the senses, interacting, enjoying, whatever it is. But when it is withdrawn, the person is not pulled out by the senses. So in that half an hour or 1 hour of meditation practice, the mind is not getting extrovert. How will that happen? Only when I have clarity in the rest of the time that these are toys of life. I enjoy with them whenever there is an opportunity, but I don't hanker after them. So that deep dispassion is there, just like we don't get tempted anymore by toys of the childhood. So that way the person who is not tempted by the sense objects, na indriyartheshu, na karmasu anusajjate, does not get restless about work. Work doesn't control that person. Even if that person sits for half an hour, he is able to sit happily. So the person is not bothered by thoughts like, oh, but this work is to be finished and why am I sitting here? One of the obstacles to meditation is that when one sits to meditate, that time the work pressure comes up. And one feels, what a waste of time. Why am I sitting here? Better it is to go and work. Anyway, my mind is wandering. So what is the point? Leave it. One goes. So work drags a person out. The capacity to drop the work for that half an hour, saying ki I will take care of it. I have enough time and I will do it. This comes when I have done that first verse and I have lived the first verse. When the work is not pressurizing psychologically. So when the sense objects don't tempt me, when the work does not make me restless, one is not attached to doing something, one is able to withdraw, sit quietly, again go back, do what is needed. And third is the most subtle one, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. The person has renounced all fanciful imaginations. Sankalpa here does not mean willpower, but Sankalpa here means fanciful imagination, Samyak Kalpana. So when the mind is not doing anything, or even if the mind is doing something, the fanciful imagination it doesn't have. That when I do this, then I will become happy, when I go there, then I will become more happy. This person, that object, this situation, that thing. The superimposing of happiness on anything outside, the person doesn't do. Meaning the person is not brooding over any sense objects. This calls for two things. One is Vairagya, another is Bhakti. And they both go hand in hand. If I have devotion to the Lord, this will happen automatically. And you can see this happening in any situation. I am giving you an example of the Lord. Somebody who is devoted to their field. I mean, so many athletes, they went now to the Commonwealth Games. They are so devoted to their field, they may not even know what is happening in the world outside, how much of hard work and training and single-pointed focus and that love which they have for that sport, for the country, that drives them. And hence they naturally have dispassion. They will have to live in self-control. They may not even know what are the latest things happening. They may not have time to do socializing so much. Government doesn't support much, still they continue because they have the passion for it. They are able to withdraw, take rest when they have to take rest, again go back to their practice. They don't sit and brood. That applies to so many things. Somebody who wants to clear an entrance exam, IIT entrance or whatever, medical entrance. Single-pointedly they will work. They will put aside all this. So much more of that is required in meditation. The key is actually bhakti. If the bhakti comes into our heart, the rest of the things happen. Our problem is we keep struggling with vairagya. And we keep practicing, I don't want to be attached, I don't want to be attached, this I should not be tempted by, that I should not. So we work in a resistance mode. And the difficult part is because whatever I resist, that persists. That becomes more stronger. So if I say I don't want this, mind doesn't understand what not to do. Mind only understands what to do. So the repetition going in the mind is not I don't want. Repetition going on is that object or that thing or situation. Hence the person, if one tries to develop bhakti in the heart for that self or for Ishvara, for Sadguru, for the Shastra, if bhakti comes in the heart, vairagya will also come. Hence here he says, Anashrita karma phalam, that was one part of the preparation. One who is able to work selflessly, enjoying the work itself. Second, who does not have temptation of the senses. Third, who is able to drop work at will, pick it up at will. Fourth, has dropped all the fanciful imaginations. Such a person is ready for contemplation. And if this person does not do that, then the person is wasting one's potential. So, in the earlier words, Bhagavan said, Arurukshor muner yogam karma karana muchyate. Somebody who is trying to get these four, who has not yet mastered their mind, for them action is the way. They should never drop action. But for somebody who has achieved these four, the purpose of action is fulfilled. So they don't have to keep acting in the world more and more and more. They should learn to withdraw and spend more time in contemplation. Hence the whole system in our culture of the 4 stages of life. In the first 2 stages, one acts very dynamically and selflessly, as a student and as a grahasti. And one has exhausted one's rajas, one has cultivated these 4 things, and slowly in Vanaprastha one turns within, starts giving up the responsibilities to people, and then sannyas is exclusive duty is only contemplation on the self. So he says somebody who has not mastered the mind should continue to do the work in the world, serve the people, become more and more selfless, gain sense mastery, gain mind mastery. But somebody who has already done it, so the example given here is yoga rudasya tasyaiva shamak karanam uchyate. Person who has already mounted the horse of the mind, for that person no more action is required. That person must withdraw quietly. So we see in the example of Shri Krishna that to Arjun he says you stay here and you act, because he has not yet got these 4. And if he would have gone away, he would have been a disaster, because he would not have got a field to exhaust his natural tendencies, and he is not ready for the subtler contemplation. So he would have suffocated himself. That is what happens to many people who drop action. They become frustrated because it is dropped at the wrong time. So action done in the right way leads to liberation, and action dropped at the right time also leads to liberation. Both will lead to liberation only. But action done in the wrong way and action dropped at the wrong time, both will lead to bondage. So Bhagavan says here that such a person who has got ready, who has cultivated these qualities, the 5th preparation he says is always lift the mind away from its own attachments. Beautiful verse, one of the very famous verses of the Gita is the 5th verse. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. So he says, Uddharet atmana atmanam. Lift yourself by yourself. Na atmanam avasadayet. Don't ever condemn yourself. To meditate requires maximum energy. Maximum stamina is required only for meditation. Not even for weight loss and exercise. How much stamina is required to walk on the treadmill? Much more than that is required to sit consistently in meditation for that much time. 30 minutes of treadmill and 30 minutes of meditation, you compare the energy, a lot of stamina is required. Brain burns maximum sugar in thinking. If you analyze, you will know. And here is concentrated thinking, which will burn more. And so if you know, there is a diet also which is called think thin. And it works. Of course, you have to follow it properly. If you single-pointedly you think in the mind that you are thin and you maintain that image, you will reach there. Not that you can keep eating anything in the world outside and keep maintaining that image. You can't maintain that image then, that's not possible. But you follow that restrictions and think thin, it will just happen. So the meditation requires maximum amount of energy, and there are lots of times when we don't have that energy, our desires pull us down, our emotions pull us down. So sometimes we get tired, exhausted. So Bhagavan says, lift yourself by yourself. You only will have to do it. This verse can be interpreted at many different ways, at many different levels. One is that I should lift myself by myself, meaning having got a human body, the best thing I can do is to meditate, to know the self. And I have to lift myself through preparation to be able to discover that self. He says, and nobody can do it for you. I have to do it all by myself. So I have to know that I am alone in this journey, and this is my journey. It is not about people, it's not about others, it's about my journey. So in this journey when I am walking, goal is very far, very high. I may keep slipping. I have to pull myself up again and again. And every time I slip, I have to lift myself again and not condemn myself. Oh God, again I have fallen down. I don't know whether this life this will even happen. I am not fit enough. I don't deserve this. Many such self-condemning thoughts can come to us. Self-condemnation, victimization, depression, these are all ways by which ego sustains itself. And one is trying to drop the ego, one should drop all these negative thinking. Not only the ego sustains itself, it attracts a lot of sympathy, attention. It keeps waiting in a mode that people will show me a lot of love. It doesn't go out and actively give and serve. Hence, for a person who is depressed, we do not suggest meditation. Please do not suggest meditation. There are enough people who go crazy because of that. Already they are depressed. Now you tell them go and meditate. What will they meditate on? Their depressive thoughts will keep going round and round in their head. Because they don't have control on the mind. And there are enough people out there who think that meditation is the cure for everything, and to everything, for everyone they say meditate, go, do this course. It will not work. Let that person become active first. Do something dynamic, bring up their confidence, let them feel good. People who have that feel good factor and they don't have this self-condemnation, they can meditate steadily. And that's why we say that those who follow dharma, they can do dhyan properly. Those who follow adharma cannot do dhyan. Because their adharma only will create disturbance in the mind. Very tough. Dharma plays a very, very powerful role. Dharma gives that extra strength to that person. That self-confidence also comes. That Atma Bal, in Vedanta we call it Atma Bal. That you know that I have not done anything wrong and I am living a life of righteousness. I have not compromised anywhere. I am doing my duty, I am doing it selflessly. That brings an Atma Bal. That's not ego. But that's an inner strength to continue on the path without getting disturbed. So he says, even if you fall, in the sense that even if you are not able to maintain that contemplation, you fall down to body identification or some emotion comes up. Because when we start focusing on the mind, a lot of suppressions, unconscious things which are there, they all start coming up. And typically that happens when a person meditates, a lot of negativities they come out and person thinks, I was better off before meditation. meditation I am supposed to have good thoughts, and why are these thoughts coming more to me? Two things are important there. Have I done my preparation well? If I have not done my preparation well, that means I have to do my preparation. That's what this indicates. But if I have done my preparation well, then it only means that the mind is bringing up certain very deep-rooted things. With the faith, you continue the practice, don't pull yourself down, be alert in daily life and keep doing. So, uddhared atmana atmanam, lift yourself by yourself. Don't condemn yourself at any point in time. Those moments of meditation are the best moments. But yes, one must prepare properly for it. So he says, why does Bhagavan say this? Uddhared atmana atmanam, na atmanam avasadayet. Because mind is our best friend and mind is our worst enemy. That mind which has done the preparation and integrated itself, where the intellect knows what is right and the mind is following that and action-wise one is doing it. That is integration. That dharma brings that integration. Duties, selflessness, all that brings that integration. Such a person has mastered the mind. So then mind is a friend of that person. But the person who has not followed these, not done the preparation, mind is my worst enemy. And that mind will keep pulling me down. And I may keep pulling myself up. Even in that situation, I have to only pull myself up and start following the preparation and make myself integrated. I can't condemn myself. So if you actually see, one of the beauty of the Sanatana Dharma and the scripture is, nowhere anybody is condemned. And if at all somebody is condemned, it is because of misunderstanding of the, not misunderstanding, it's a wrong interpretation of the Shastra. If some people think that Brahmins are higher and Shudras are lower, that is a misinterpretation. But Shastra is not condemning anybody. So Bhagavan says here that never condemn yourself. Just imagine if a person like Ratnakar, who was a dacoit, who was looting, murdering, plundering, killing, that person can transform and become Valmiki. There is hope for everybody. There is no one who is written off. Maybe time it may take, depending on what is the vasana pressure, the desire and all that. So here he says, make your mind your best friend, let it not be your worst enemy. A person who has mastered the mind, bandhur atmat manastasya yena atmaivatmanajitah. The mind is a friend of those who have integrated it. Anatmanastu shatrutve vartet atmaiva shatruvat, the next verse that is. So the mind is the enemy of those who do not do that preparation properly. Hence their own selfishness pulls them down. Their own stress, fears, guilt pulls them down. But even if that happens, one has to just pull oneself out of it, learn the lessons, drop the past, start the preparation. So for today we will stop here. We will continue the preparation part tomorrow. And then tomorrow we will get into the actual practice also. You had a question?
We have sannyasis like people like Ravan who would go for meditation tapasya. They would go away from society and meditate, then come back and they would another mantras again. So like meditation would not help them. Like how would you explain that?
So they are not doing meditation first of all. They are doing concentration. Concentration is one form of tapas. In Yoga Shastra it is said, one of the highest forms of tapas is concentration. Dharana it is called. After dharana comes dhyana. Dhyana is meditation.
So dharana was for some result always.
Yeah, so now concentration can be for some selfish purpose or a selfless purpose. Now their objective is to gain more power. So they have used the concentration of the mind for getting that. But purity of heart is not there. Hence devotion to the Lord doesn't come. Hence they do not attain that result. and hence their own selfishness pulls them down. And
They have like God coming to them, granting them boons.
that in the case of Ravan, there is a different reason behind it. But in case of all asuras, because Ravan, he was a Dwarpal of Vishnu Bhagwan, Jaya and Vijay, they were two Dwarpalas who got the curse. So then that was the reason why Bhagwan came and liberated them, because they were his own Dwarpals there. But even in case of other asuras, Bhagwan comes and gives them the boon, because Bhagwan says very clearly, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Whoever asks me whatever, I will bless them with that. Because that choice Bhagwan has given to the human being, to make oneself or mar oneself. That's what he says here. Mind is your best friend or your worst enemy. So if I am using the mind as an enemy, he says okay. If I am using the mind as a friend, then he says okay. That's the choice. But if that's the point to understand, that Bhagwan himself is coming there. And they could have asked for moksha, but the mind is stuck in desire. A single pointed mind can manifest the unmanifest Lord into manifest form by its yearning. So one is doing tapas on the Lord and wants the darshan of the Lord, so Bhagwan will come. It's just like a child asking for the parent. The child keeps calling the parent. What will the parent do? Parent will come. And when the parent comes, what the child will ask depends on the child's mind. Somebody may want the parent for the sake of parent. So the parent comes there for the sake of the child. But somebody wants the toys from the parent. So when the parent comes, the child asks, give me this toy. So the parent goes, gets the toy, gives it. It's like that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari